You're tuned to The Drive on your 24/7 home of the black and gold. Steelers Nation Radio.
Play action pass. Looking, throws over the middle of the field. Has Metcalf open and on the run. Metcalf crosses the 45. Midfield crosses the 40, the 30, the 20-yard line, the 15. Picks up a block and rumbles into the end zone. Calvin Austin set him up with a block, and Metcalf goes 80 yards for the score.
Good afternoon, Steelers Nation, and welcome to The Drive. A fun intro today. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you and yours, near and far. What's up, Matt? I hope that put a little pep in your step here on a Tuesday.
I knew something good was coming, but that was a surprise. That was awesome. Mix in a little of the Kinger and the Metcalf, and that happens to be in Dublin. I assume everyone put two and two together on that. You got the shirt. Good work. Love it. Do you happen to know someone who plays the violin?
Yeah, so it's been spoken about once or twice here on the program before, but big shout out to my dad, of course, recently retired, but 36-year member of the Pittsburgh Symphony. Mm-hmm. He sent a fun little Happy St. Patrick's Day video to our family today. I sent it to you guys, and I was like, we got to use this for an intro today.
That's great,
so thanks to Pops. Maybe we'll cook up a little something extra for hour number 2 to bring us in as well, but it is.
And then at the coffee machine, you said he went to your daughter's daycare today too. He played for the whole crew, right?
Yeah,
they were all dancing around, and that's awesome.
My two daughters, 4 and 2, go to daycare in our area, and they had been kind of trying to find a time for my dad to come in and do a little assembly with the kids and play violin and answer questions. And my dad was like, "How about St. Patrick's Day? Like, I'll play some, play some Irish music, and they'll dance." I was showing Matt the videos. He's got 50 kids like up and dancing while he's fiddling away, and it was so funny. He was like, he opened up the questions at the end, and the kids were like, "Why is it cut that way?"
I don't know the answer to that.
One of the kids asked, "How old is your violin?" And my dad was like, "That's a great question. Like, over 300."
Like, some of them are like super old.
My
like
violin
collectible.
was made in the 1700s, and the kids were like, "What's that mean?" And my dad was like, "That's 300 years ago." And they were like, "What's that mean?" And my dad was like, "No one who's walking the earth now was alive when this violin
Not
was
even close.
Your grandparents weren't around when this
or their
grandparents. So it was a fun way to start the morning.
The question and answer session.
It was hilarious. Someone asked, like, what are the really big violins that people play that are like as big as the body? And my dad's like, "That's a cello or a double bass." And so I went with him and kind of like dressed up for, as like a little leprechaun for the occasion. We had a lot of fun this morning. Hopefully everybody's enjoying their St. Patrick's Day. And as we get going here on a Tuesday with plenty to get to, Matt, we're going to have a little bit of a quarterback hour in hour number 2. We're going to do our 2026 NFL quarterback draft that we mentioned yesterday.
Oh, right. Okay.
I think it was
fine by me.
I think it was Nick who tweeted us that fun idea. I also want to talk to you about some sink or swim quarterbacks heading into this season, some guys across the league that are big career crossroad moments. We're going to talk about the Steelers roster as we sit here today. What do we like? Where is business done versus where is there still some reinforcements that could be needed? But, Matt, news of the day today is I think, have plenty of kind of significant things in Steelers land and around the NFL to discuss to get us going, and a pretty significant trade happening earlier this morning as the Broncos trading for Miami wide receiver Jalen Waddle, getting Waddle in the Dolphins' 4th-round pick in this year's draft in exchange for the Broncos' 1st-round pick this year, that's 30th overall, along with a 3rd and 4th-round pick in this year's draft. So Miami gets a 1st, 3rd, and a 4th this year. Denver gets Jalen Waddle and a 4th this year. A pretty substantial trade here.
It is.
As we get, closer and closer to draft day.
And obviously you laid it out exactly how it's written, but I guess the best way to really look at the value is in the 4th round, Denver goes from a late 4th round to an early 4th round, and then they say, we'll give you our 1 and 3.
So kind of like a 4th-round pick swap.
Right.
And then a 1 and a 3 as well.
So, so it's basically a 1 and a 3, a little less than that, because we're going to move up a smidge in the 4th. That's a nice haul for Miami. Let's start with Miami. Their totally in it for next year, obviously. They have massive cap issues. They want every pick they can get. They were rumored to have shopped Waddle to the Bills at the trade deadline for a first, and they couldn't quite get close enough, so they didn't. Waddle's still a really good player, but it leaves Miami with nothing at wide receiver. I mean, their wide receivers are
Tutu Atwell, Jalen Tolbert,
Malik Washington, who's okay.
Yeah.
So from a Miami perspective, 90% of it I 100% understand. Let's just trade all of our assets that cost money for picks. Okay, we've seen that.
2 first-round picks now.
Yeah, and I mean, they're going to have a lot of stuff next year.
A lot of day 2 picks.
So, yeah, exactly. And they need a lot of things. And I get that. And we've seen that play out before. They pushed their chips in a couple of years ago with Tua and Tyreek and didn't get to where they wanted to be, and now they're paying the piper. Fine. But what I find kind of curious about it from the Miami perspective is not that he was the biggest investment ever, but can you at least give Willis something to see if he can sink or swim?
Man,
I
hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah,
but
that's the only thing they invested in, and they must love him. And the whole staff's coming over from Green Bay, and obviously they're really high on him, and he must like them, and blah blah blah. But can I truly evaluate this dude?
If he's got nothing around him.
Right. And if they end up with the first pick and it's Arch Manning, they'll take him anyway. But if they end up with the 6th pick and should we try to trade up, or should we take the 3rd quarterback in this draft? But we haven't really got a good eval on Willis.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ability here. He did some good things, but we didn't have anyone to catch the ball. That's a problem. As for Denver, what I've been saying about them all offseason, and apparently they agree, is they basically ran it back with their own dudes in free agency. Didn't let a lot leave the building. Didn't bring in a lot new. They did really well last year. No reason to really rock that boat.
Sure.
Young quarterback.
Yeah.
And I just kept thinking they're like a playmaker away from really maybe being the best team in the AFC. I mean, so was it a slight overpay? Maybe, but I think their pick was 30th or something. I mean, it's late. Yeah. I mean, it's not the normal for mid-first round pick. So there's a lot, but I understand both sides.
Same. I think this is one of those rare trades where I think you could argue both sides win. And I know that's something we're obsessed with, who won the trade and all that.
And both teams can be happy or sad.
For Denver, you're spot on. This is a team that was a game away from the Super Bowl, and if Bo Nix was healthy, would have had a great chance of being in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, right.
You had a dynamic playmaker to put on that offense, make life easier on Bo Nix, pair with Courtland Sutton, makes a ton of sense. And then for Miami, you now have 2 first-round picks. You pick up an extra day 2 pick.
Free up more cap space. Which is a problem for you.
As much as you're right, I think you would have liked to, from the Malik Willis evaluation standpoint, kept some ingredients in the kitchen.
Give me something, right?
He also, if you're the Dolphins and you're hoping that 2-3 years from now you're contending for a division title and really have opened up a window, he would probably be on the decline of his career at that point and might not be a huge part of your next era. So
right.
I get it from that standpoint.
I almost think you should have just ran it back with Ewers then.
Yeah.
And really lose.
Sure.
I mean, because Willis might keep you out of the first 3 or whatever.
Might win you just enough games to not be able to get your next quarterback.
You're looking at the Jets in your division, they beat us twice, or we beat them twice, and now we're lost out on our quarterback.
And now they get the guy that everybody wants. Yeah, that's it. A whole lot that plays into this. Also, with that, 5 teams now, Matt, own 2 first-round picks in the upcoming draft.
Yeah.
The Jets, 2-16. The Browns, 6-24. The Chiefs, 9-29. The Cowboys, 12-20. And now the Dolphins, 11-30. That's going to be – we'll cover these type of things much more when we get closer and closer to the end of April in that draft.
Mm-hmm.
But that's significant too when you have 5 teams that control basically a third of the first round.
Yeah.
And how that affects everybody else, what they're specifically going to draft for in terms of their needs, and how that affects the big board for everybody else.
And a couple of those teams aren't bad. I mean, the Chiefs and Dallas. And, there's the rebuilders, obviously, but it's not just the total Junko teams. Taking it a step further, this big picture league stuff, I do think so Todd McShay's been on this heavy, and he's really dialed in with the league. I mean, a lot of people tell him things, behind the scenes about players and draft and what's your opinion on this guy, Todd, blah, blah, blah. And I've been listening to his podcast, and I was listening to it this morning. And to no shock of anyone, what the league really covets are 2027 first.
Sure.
Like
Quarterback.
And he said the guys that everybody really, really wants are Arch, Moore at Oregon, and
Sellers?
No, the dude that transferred from Cincinnati to Texas Tech. Sorsby. And then there's others. But they think those three are
interesting.
Are like Daniels, May, and Caleb. Like they're going to be the top three guys in the draft, or four of the top five, three of the top four, three of the top five, whatever. And obviously very subject to change with like 5 to 8 other quarterback names that could be a really rich environment, which is probably more Steeler realistic than the 3 I mentioned. But because of those 3, a guy that like Mendoza might have been the 4th guy in the draft that next year, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or Ward or some other really good prospect. So I am curious, these teams with multiple firsts, will there be, where I'm going with this, will there be a more draft day trades for next year's picks? I just don't think anybody wants to give them up, because I guess the other position groups are also quite strong.
Interesting.
It
does. It seems like, and it's funny how this stuff always ebbs and flows, but it seems like this year everybody is like, we'll arrange our capital if we can load up in 2nd and 3rd round picks. That's where the value is.
Exactly.
Whereas,
or a team like Denver is a perfect example. It's like, we don't really mind giving up our first this year, but we're not giving up next year's.
But maybe, you know what, as well, maybe if you're a team like the Chiefs or the Cowboys, who obviously has your quarterback, maybe you see the value in having multiple first-round picks this year, because you're like, that doesn't matter to us.
Exactly. Just give me all the other position groups. Or, hey, you don't I was wondering this like during the McDuffie trade, because I thought McDuffie for a first would have been fine. But McDuffie for a first and a third was a little bit much. And I think it's kind of true with Waddle, too. Waddle for a first, I get it. Waddle for a first and a third is a little bit much. But I'm wondering that with the team that had the original player, obviously in this case the Chiefs and the Dolphins, did they ask for, I want a first and next year's second? And we're like, no, we're not giving you next year's second.
Right.
But we'll give you this year's third. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, but we have a quarterback, so we'll take it. That works,
I would be.
I'm curious how the conversations go, but I bet all these teams are wanting. I bet they all want a next year pick.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Matt, other thing I wanted to run by you here in the opener: Hollywood Brown, formerly of the AFC North and the Baltimore Ravens, signing a 1-year deal with the Philadelphia Eagles. Does that put your A.J. Brown antenna up at all, or just a depth piece to add on a 1-year deal?
Yeah, Hollywood's not what he used to be. Yeah, I mean, he's had some good moments. He's a former first-round pick. I'm not saying he's a nobody, but he's a 3, and he's way different than A.J., and just in terms of body type and everything he's brings to the table. I do think it's also noteworthy that they got a deal done with Goddard. I thought Goddard might, they brought him back. He had free agency. I thought he might go. So they're not super low on pass catchers. I've been told that they truly believe Devontae Smith is a number 1, that they think he could be like a Jackson Smith and that type of season. So I do think Brown could go. A.J. Brown could go. And maybe the draft will probably post-draft. I think he's somebody they want to trade post-draft. But if Waddle's getting a 1 and a 3, basically, I would think Brown brings at least that home. DJ Moore got a 2. It makes the Pittman deal look so much better.
It
by the
really
way.
does.
I mean, maybe he's slightly below a couple of those guys. I think he's better than Moore. But the Steelers got him for nothing.
Right. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm liking it more and more. I think it's aging well. Not that I think a lot of these are terrible deals or anything like that, but I think it just...
One's not like the other, though.
One is not like the other. That's a very, very good way to put it. So that's kind of the moving and shaking here on this St. Patrick's Day.
There's two other small deals.
Yeah.
And I don't think this one influences the Steelers, but Christian Kirk went to the Niners.
Went to the Niners, yep.
The Steelers had been linked to him in the past. I don't think he's somebody that you'd be interested in at this point as your number 3. Not that he's a bad player, but I think your number 3 comes in the draft. And a guy we brought up a lot, Wyatt Teller, right before we hit record, is now a Houston Texan.
Yeah.
Which I think makes a ton of sense for them. They've made massive changes on their O-line.
And they needed to.
I think for the better. I don't even know if they'll go O-line in round 1 anymore. But he was somebody I definitely had my eye on for the Steelers, yeah.
That crop of potential veteran guards getting thinner and thinner.
A little thinner, yeah.
And something we'll continue to keep an eye on and monitor here. That's our start for the day here. Plenty more to get to as we roll along. I want to take a look at the Steelers roster as of now. This is something we mentioned yesterday. Where do we think business is done? Where do we think the Steelers can still add some reinforcements? We'll take a look at the Steelers roster when we return. Just getting started. Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson here on this St. Patrick's Day Tuesday. Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.
What's up, NFL fans? The NFL Draft is finally here. And while you might not know who your team is drafting this year, you do know your watch party's number one pick, Bud Light. The clean, crisp taste that has all the scouts talking. Guess that's why it's been the group's go-to draft beer season after season. Be sure to order a round for the table before your team's on the clock. Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Back on the drive here on this Tuesday. Matt, we, of course, our loyal listeners, our P1s know this, but for those unfamiliar, we've got a crack team of producers that work with us here.
Yeah.
They trust you and I so much that we have as many producers as we do hosts on this show.
Keep these two in line, yeah.
We, of course, have our guy Nate Dogg, young Nathan on the ones and twos on the radio side. Of course, everyone knows Mr. TV, Tyler V on the video side of things. Everyone's fired up today. Nate Dogg is fired up. USA in the World Baseball Classic Championship tonight against Venezuela.
It's tonight, okay.
He's all fired up and ready to go, our resident baseball guy. And then TV, our resident statistician, sliding across the desk here while we were in break. This is jarring.
It's nuts. It really is.
The Miami Dolphins' dead money for this season is now over $175 million. That's more than half the salary cap.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The salary cap's like 305,
I would say it's
310
a little
range,
over 3,
I think.
yeah. Like
308,
well over
309.
half. Right. So,
Tua over $50 million. Tyreek Hill over $28 million. Jalen Waddle over $26 million. Ramsey $21 million. Minka $13 million. Bradley Chubb $11 million. I mean, the list goes on and on. James Daniels, Zach Wilson, Jonnu Smith, Matthew Judon.
Wow, a lot of Steeler-related guys in there.
A lot of Steelers-related guys on there. $175 million. That's got to be some kind of record.
Oh, that's definitely the record. I don't know who's second. I don't even have to research it. It's definitely the record. I know Tua's individual dead money cap hit is the greatest in NFL history, more than like Wilson with the Broncos or anybody Kyler's got a big one now too with Arizona. So real quick, people, what that means is the Dolphins are spending $175 million of their, what is it, 310 cap dollars for these players to play elsewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all it is. I mean, they're not on their team anymore, and they're in the league, and they're playing football this year, just not for them. But the Dolphins, they're eating up that much of the Dolphins' cap either way.
It's unbelievable.
It's not very good business.
It's not very good business. It's the opposite of what we were talking about yesterday.
So, again, like, will they know any more about Willis? You know what I mean? Like, again, I always try to spin at the Steelers, and people know I'm interested in Willis. Let's say he plays 17 games.
Okay.
Let's say they win 2 of them. And the poor guy has nothing around him. I mean, I assume his receivers will be better than the junk he's throwing to now, and there's nothing at tight end. They'll add something. Maybe Sadiq ends up on that team or a second-round receiver.
Yeah.
The O-line's okay. They have a Chan. Okay. Defense has nothing. So they lose a ton of games. He's the 20th best quarterback in the league and shows a lot of stuff, but also has a lot of tough moments and getting sacked left and right and playing from behind and in a really difficult situation. Could a team like the Steelers, who let's say they once again pick 20 or 21st, but can't get to 7 or 6 to get their quarterback, and the Dolphins take Arch or Sellers or whoever, does Willis become a Steeler a year from now? You know what I mean? Like,
it all works. It all works in concert together.
That's what I mean. Like, there's a lot of dominoes in this situation. You know, like Willis might not be his fault at all.
Yeah.
You know, he might be the 8th best quarterback, and they still may win 2
have
games.
A losing record.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
Because
I'm just curious what quarterbacks will be on the market, draft or otherwise, next year. Right.
You want as many options as possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Matt, let's take a look at what the Steelers have.
Willis might be horrendous. I mean, I'm not saying on the table he's going to be the best guy. Yeah, who knows?
We'll certainly be keeping an eye on Malik Willis, absolutely from the weird world of Matt Williamson perspective. Let's take a look here now at the Steelers roster, Matt, and what we're working with. And I did my best to compile all this as updated as possible. Okay.
I'd say Our Lads probably does the best job of it. They're really good.
That's where I have pulled up right now, and that's where I looked at it. And so it looks like, according to Our Lads, 69 guys currently on some type of contract.
Okay.
So that includes the futures contracts and all of those that the Steelers.
I think they bring 93 to camp.
That sounds right.
Or is that too many? And I think that's right.
I think that's right.
Yeah,
it's a big number.
Now, half those guys don't make the team, or although the practice squad's bigger than ever too.
The practice squad is bigger than ever.
So a lot of these dudes under contract though are long shots, to say the least. That sounds like a big number as we sit here on St. Paddy's Day, but it's not.
No, absolutely not.
Futures contracts and weird things like that.
So we'll start with the offense, and let's just kind of go down the list here. Quarterback right now, Mason Rudolph and Will Howard.
So real quick, I think is this conversation stemming from the Twitter question yesterday saying,
what next? Where are we going next?
Yeah, but I know someone asked us something like, Steelers have 12 picks. Can they actually fit those guys under the roster? And I was kind of like, well, there's room for maybe one running back.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way I was going to view it. Like, how many? Yeah, let's do it that way. Like,
I love it.
Who do we think
I can
is
keep
like?
Track of this for you here.
Okay,
Get my trusty, dusty legal pad out.
We'll probably do a whole offensive segment, a whole defensive segment.
Let's do it.
Subject to change, of course, and people will get hurt, and there will. But who do we think are guaranteed to make the final 53?
Yes,
and let's call it a 90% chance. Like Cam Hayward's gonna make the team,
right?
But he could retire, or something weird could happen.
Crazier
but
things have
right.
happened, sure.
Andrew Luck retired a week before camp or something.
Mm-hmm.
But let's assume. So of the quarterback room, I think Howard's the only one under contract that I would say is guaranteed to make the team. I know that sounds weird.
I get what you're saying, but as of this stage, though, I would also be shocked if Mason Rudolph wasn't.
I'd be shocked as well. But my point is, if they were to use a third-round pick on Nussmeier and Rodgers returns, only three's making it.
Sure.
And I think Rodgers would be in.
Obviously.
Howard would be in.
Maybe.
I can't imagine cutting him unless he's terrible.
I can't either, but I could imagine them trying to stash Nuss or one of those guys on the practice squad.
Yeah, but you lose them. There's no way you cut a third-round pick.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's no way you do that, but I also, again, I'm being the Godfather. I'm trying to think as those around me think. I also don't see the Pittsburgh Steelers organization going into September with with Aaron Rodgers and two guys who have never taken a snap in an NFL regular season game.
So that's
funny.
That's
just not how they operate.
I urge people to look at it, to check it out, because it's like what you and I do, but Max and Pursuta and I did a live video where we picked the Steelers' first 3 rounds.
Okay.
And I threw it out to those two, and I'm like, well, are we going to even entertain a quarterback? It was once we got to the 3rd round. And Pursuita's like, I won't allow it. And I'm like, well, let's at least talk this through. I'm like, Max, what do you think? And Pursuita's like, I won't allow it because can you really develop 2 young quarterbacks at the same time? All the reps that 3rd-round quarterbacks taking are ones that Howard should be, you know?
Sure.
And am I just going to cut Rudolph for nothing? I'm like, good point. But if you really like one that you think could be a starter, I think there's 2 sides to it. But so the original tweet was like, this would be paraphrasing, but could they draft another quarterback?
Yeah.
And I think the answer is you could.
Yeah, sure.
Man, and I'll be honest, there's a couple later round guys I'm starting to warm up to, just are intriguing to me. But speaking of Miche, this is a strange one too. I'm going to do a deep podcast on this today. He did a 10-year study of every quarterback drafted outside of round 1.
Okay.
92% of them did not turn into long-term starters.
I believe it.
The only ones are Dak,
Russell
Hurts.
Wilson. And that wouldn't have been within the last 10 years.
More recent. I think he started with the Dak class just to include him.
Sure.
I'm going to double check. I'll double check his
Derek
work.
Carr would be outside of that range. Russell Wilson would be outside of that range.
It was Hurts.
Kirk Cousins, outside of that range. He's been more than a decade.
He's too old, too.
Yeah.
It was Purdy. There was 3 of them. There was Purdy, Dak, and Hurts. And the book is still out on Willis now because he was a 3rd rounder.
Sure, that's fair.
And Shuck because he's a second-year guy.
That's fair, too, yeah.
But 92% of those dudes do not turn them into long-term starters.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they don't get a shot, but that's my Howard point. When everyone says I hate Howard, I'm like, he's probably going to be the 92%, not the 8.
Yeah.
But there are the 8%.
And there is that middle ground of Mason Rudolph types who never carved out a career as a consistent starter, but obviously belong on a roster as a backup and can play.
And Rudolph was worth a third.
Yes.
That guy's worth a third.
Yes.
I mean, if you have a wealth of picks and you took Nussmeier, I just keep throwing him out there, in the third, and he turns into Rudolph and is a lifetime backup to Howard or next year's first, it's still worth the pick. Mm-hmm. But anyways, I'm derailing the exercise here. Let's say Rodgers is on the team, though, for the sake of this article. Because, I mean, if it's not him, it's going to be Cousins or Carr or somebody that's going to make the team.
I get what you're saying.
Like, I don't think the starting quarterback's on the team.
Can we say 3 for quarterback?
Yeah.
I think that's the safest.
When we do this, I think there's 3.
That's the safest way to do it.
Because they're going to add a quarterback.
Right.
Even if Rodgers retires an hour from now.
Yes.
And that guy is going to make the team because he's the starter.
Yes.
You know.
I think that's fair comment.
Yeah.
Right? So we'll go 3 for quarterbacks.
Yes.
Running back.
I think it's only 2.
I think 2. Certainly, because obviously Caleb Johnson's still under contract, and then Lou Nichols is signed for a futures contract. Mm-hmm. But I'm saying 2 for that group.
I think those 2 are definitely going to make the team.
Like, we're talking definitely going to make the team here.
Yes. Like, that would be terrible if Johnson gets cut after year 1. That is a really wasted pick. I mean, you got nothing out of his rookie year, and you can't even blame injuries. But I can't say he's promised a spot.
No.
Especially with no ability thus far to show that he can help on special teams.
Completely agree with you on that one.
But he might rip up the preseason and be like, oh, good.
Sure. Hey, that'd be awesome.
Right.
Tight ends, 2.
2 clear.
J.J. Galbraith is still under futures contract, but I'm rolling with 2 right now, and Darnell and Muth.
Mm-hmm. And that just means, folks, like Galbraith will be in Latrobe.
That's all for these futures guys. That's all that means is that they will be in Latrobe and they will have a chance for those 3 weeks to prove themselves.
And I think he spent time on the practice squad last year. I honestly don't know.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so.
So there's 2 tight ends that are going to make the team.
Yes.
That we know.
Right now, wide receivers. DK, obviously. Pittman, obviously.
Yes.
Skronik, I think, is a clear-cut yes.
Especially after losing like Killebrew. And
Mm-hmm. His special teams value at this point is undeniable.
I think that's it.
Is that it? I think so, too.
That's why I said I'd still draft 2. I mean, you still have to draft 1 pretty high.
Roman Wilson's still under contract. And
his story's not written.
Yeah.
Right.
And so maybe he should be in the conversation just because he's under contract. But
I think he's like Caleb. Like, I don't think he's guaranteed to make the team.
You have a few guys that are still under futures contracts at wide receiver.
Who are those names?
Max Hurleman,
okay.
John Reese Plumlee, Cole Burgess, Brandon Smith, A.T. Perry. I believe that's the list.
Yeah, and like those first 2 guys did some good things at camp, and we talked about them when we were doing the drive, and they could come back and be your 6th guy possibly. I mean, it's not like they have no chance, but they're not guaranteed to make the team.
Right.
DK Metcalf's guaranteed to make the team.
And then left tackle, Broderick Jones, Dylan Cook.
Yes and yes.
Lorenzo Thompson is on a futures deal, but I think I'm just going 2 there as of now.
Yes. Hypothetical. I could see a world where Cook is really good, Jones is healthy, but Cook beats him out, and in the 3rd round you drafted a tackle, and you're like, I bet somebody would give us something for Broderick Jones.
Absolutely.
I mean, he could play left tackle for a lot of teams, and he's got a lot of ability. So, like, yes, you have to say he's guaranteed to make the team.
As of today. This is all of his. This could change by the time we're on air tomorrow.
Yes, but he's a sneaky trade candidate,
I think that's a fair way to label it.
Mm-hmm. And that'd be a great situation. That means he's healthy, he's doing something good, and Cook beat him out.
And you were confident enough in Cook
that Cook's real.
To trade one half of that position battle.
And you probably have another guy waiting in the wings.
Left guard, I think it's just 1 in Spencer Anderson, right? You do have Doug Nestor still on a futures contract. You do have Seteo Lumea on a futures contract, but I think as of now it's 1 in Spencer Anderson.
Now, I also think Anderson, not that he needs to be worried, but chances are their 6-0 line stuff's percentage is going to go down.
Agreed.
I mean, they were at the top of the league with it,
Agreed.
And that seemed like an Arthur Smith thing, last staff thing. I don't know if that'll carry over. And I doubt they just say, you're the starter. So I do think he'll make the team. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
but
not guaranteed a spot at all.
But
I'd be surprised if he wasn't on the roster in September.
His usage isn't as firm as it was when last we saw him, especially if they take Vega in the first round or something too. Like, oh, now you're the 9th guy in the O-line room, not the 6th.
Center, one. Zach Frazier.
Yeah.
That's it. The lone man in the arena.
Yeah.
Right guard, I think it's just one as well.
One, yeah.
And Mason McCormick. Stephen Jones is under a futures contract. Aiden Williams is under a futures contract. Right now, I think that's just one. And then right tackle, Troy Faltanu, Jack Driscoll.
I don't think Driscoll's guaranteed anything
I
either.
don't think so either. So just one in Faltanu.
We didn't even bring him up, but the Steelers did bring him back on like the league minimum deal. I bet there's no guaranteed money. He's been in the league. He's played almost entirely right tackle or right guard. But he was on the Steelers practice squad last year. I mean, he's a practice squad borderline guy that maybe he sneaks on there or not. You know what I mean?
Yes. So, Matt, with that exercise, the most jarring part of it to me is one right tackle, one right guard, one center, one left guard, 2 left tackles. That's 6 only in the offensive line group.
But
now,
they usually keep 9 or 10.
That's where I'm going with this.
Yeah, right.
Is that, man, it seems like
I'm drafting 2. I've said that for months.
I'm drafting 2, and I think one of them is going to be the 21st or the 53rd pick.
I'm leaning more and more that receiver and O-line are going to be their top 2 picks in one order or not. Because you're probably going to keep 5 or 6 receivers, too. Now, you used to keep 4 tight ends. So that'll probably go back to 3 like most teams. Probably keep 3 running backs. You could keep 4, but someone has to be good on special teams to make that happen. So, again, 2 receivers and 2 O-line through the draft seem logical to me. Now, the other step of this whole process is after the draft, there's a lot of veterans out there that you could get cheap.
Sure.
You know, they may, like when they sign Quan Alexander the one year, or every year there would be a name. We thought we were going to get a linebacker. And that doesn't mean they're guaranteed a roster spot. But usually when you sign the veteran that's a backup, but he's solid, he's pretty safe, you know.
They did keep 9.
So this is going to sound worse than it is at this point.
Yes. 9 offensive linemen on the initial 53-man. The initial 53-man roster last year, Matt, 25 offense, 25 defense, 3 specialists.
3 specialists.
Right now we have 16 that we say have guaranteed spots on the roster. So 16 out of 25. That I would not have guessed, but that's not
unusual though. That's how this works. Yeah.
No, I'm not saying it's like jarring or unusual.
No.
But I think it's pretty telling at this point that there's still
you look at it like, they could never use 12 draft picks. I bet we can convince you in about 15 minutes.
Not as much hay in the barn as you think.
No, there definitely isn't. And especially if you get real crazy, and these teams do this, and they'll look at who's under contract next year. Mm-hmm. It's way less.
Way less. So let's
like Rudolph's not under. I mean, there's a lot of those dudes.
Let's run this same conversation back for the Steelers defense when we return to round out this first hour of the drive here on this Tuesday. Uhler, Williamson, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. I enjoy these kind of exercises, Matt. These are fun off-season conversations. Going through.
It's the way you have to do it a little bit. And it's jarring because it's not the way everybody views it, you know?
Yes. And I think it kind of outlines where you're at, what you still have ahead of you, and where you can be looking for the Steelers to invest their remaining salary cap money, draft capital, all those different things on down the list.
And I'm sure there's some listeners like, wow, this is worse than I thought.
Yeah.
Like, no, this is how every team is.
I bet you.
If you did Miami's, you'd be like, oh my gosh.
Right. And now someone like the Broncos, for example, might have a little more continuity.
A little more stable, a little fewer spots available.
You know, the Rams, teams like that might have a little more fewer spots available.
For sure.
But for the most part, this is the boat that people are in this time of year. So if you're just joining us, Matt and I going through the Steelers roster. Who is on the roster right now would we say is guaranteed a roster spot?
That's a big statement.
Which is a pretty significant statement. Yeah. And again, as we sit here today, this is all subject to change.
Sure,
but for today, Tuesday, March 17th, we came up with 16 names on the offense.
Who do we strongly feel is guaranteed a roster spot?
There we go. That's the best way to put it. Now let's run this same exercise back on defense. Matt, are you okay? Can we just lump the defensive line in together, or do you want to different, like defensive line and edge?
Let's lump them because they keep.
I don't think we need to do like end or tackle or
no.
No. Just the true
D-tackle.
defensive
just
line.
Call them D-tackles.
Yes,
You're right.
And then we'll do the edge guys
And frankly,
separately.
this latest signing shows more and more. And we talked about the arm length and the height. They differentiate between D end and nose much less than ever. So just call them D-tackles.
I think that's perfect.
Yeah. And they usually keep 7, and this is going to be a little full. This one's going to be a little fuller than you think.
I think so.
Yeah.
Cam Hayward, duh.
In.
Derek Harmon, duh.
Yeah.
Keanu Benton, duh.
Yep.
Sebastian Joseph Day, who they just signed.
All 4 of those are guaranteed.
And Y.A. Black.
I think he's 99%. He'd have to fall on his face and have a terrible camp.
So that's 5.
Yes.
Odomweo count? I don't think so.
I think him and Logan Lee actually count combined as like a half. Like they both could make it, and that could be they could be done. You know what I mean? I know that's a weird way to look at it.
No, but I get what you're saying. We'll do like a 5 plus 1.
You would love to like draft one in the 3rd round that is guaranteed, and those 2 fight for the last spot. And if somebody gets
that would
hurt,
be great.
That's what you ideally want. And they both play unbelievably well, and the world's rainbows and unicorns galore. But neither one's definitely guaranteed. But they have at least 1 foot in the door.
They're sitting in a better pole position than
many of the names we
than many of the names.
Yeah, than any of these other names we'll bring up at D-line. Too,
correct.
For sure.
Kyler Baha and Anthony Goodlow and some of these guys that are on futures contracts.
Yeah, I know who they are.
And when Matt Williamson doesn't know who you are, that's usually not the greatest sign.
Yeah, you got to do something.
So we go 5 plus 1 to be 6. I think that's fair.
I would say.
I
bet
fair.
one of those 2 makes the team, maybe both.
Unless they go and draft multiple defensive linemen,
which would be rare,
which
too.
would shock me, especially after signing Joseph Day.
Right, that's why I like the Joseph Day signing
Same.
so much better. Is that room got pretty solid, and because I don't like the D-tackle draft, that's why they did it.
That's
why. Right.
It's all starting to come into focus.
This is not an accident. Yeah.
Edge rushers 4: TJ, Highsmith, Herbig, Sawyer.
And they usually keep 4. Sometimes there'll be a 5th if he's really good on teams, a Moon or somebody like that. But those 4 are going to make the team.
Yes. Welshoff still under a futures deal.
And he's been around a little bit.
And KJ Henry under a futures deal. Those are the 2.
Okay. So there's a spot for another, but then you'd have to like steal from an inside linebacker or a safety or something like that probably. And you don't have to go 25-25-3.
No.
It's not always that way.
No.
Yeah.
And in fact, I would imagine that could potentially change because a big part of that was the Steelers kept 4 tight ends last year, and now they included Connor Hayward as tight end fullback.
Yeah.
4 active on the initial 53. I don't know if that'll be the case.
But bet they take one more receiver.
Put up the wide receiver.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. But you could live with 5 wideouts.
True linebackers, off-ball linebackers, as the kids like to call them nowadays. Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson, Cole Holcomb, Carson Bruner. That's 4.
Harrison's still on the team.
Harrison's still on the team, but I don't know.
I can't say he's a yes.
I don't think he's a yes like those other 4 are.
I feel less and less strong about this, but I didn't think he'd ever be on the team this long.
I think it's a Cordero Patterson type situation.
It is.
We don't need the money. Why would we put him out there? We could always change our mind, or somebody could get hurt, or something could happen, or the draft board doesn't fall the way that we think it's to, and we don't get the linebacker in the 4th round that we had a 3rd round grade on.
It's all rumor and speculation, but if there were talks about trading Queen, well, then we're pretty happy we at least have Harrison around. Like, I'm not saying Queen's not part of this. He definitely should be. Bruner's kind of a half, too. Like, I don't think he's guaranteed to make the team. I mean, he's a 7th round pick last year. That looks like your next great special teamer.
That's the only thing to me is you've lost so much of your special teams.
I strongly, it wouldn't pay very much to say, does Bruner make the team or not? $300 pays you like $20. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, I think he will, but if you get to crunching time and it's like somebody's got to go, and he's our 5th linebacker because we love the guy in the 4th round that we couldn't believe are there. The top 3 are definite.
Yeah.
The Holcomb contract.
Do we do kind of like we did with the defensive linemen with the tackles where we say of Bruner and Harrison, one of those guys, so we'll count them as 1?
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
Is that fair?
With Bruner being the much more likely.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah,
so we'll count 4 for that position. I think that's fair.
And you could keep 5.
Certainly.
Especially if Bruner.
Certainly.
Because I don't think you want Bruner on the defense. He's like keeping Killebrew.
We are in lockstep there.
Yeah.
cornerback. Joey Porter Jr. Well, actually, let me ask you this. Where are we counting? We counting Ramsey as a corner?
Yeah, but I think more and more they're going to fudge those numbers a little bit, which is kind of the benefit of him.
For this,
maybe should we just do defensive backs? But safeties are a lot different. I
guess
think
for this exercise, it doesn't matter as much because it's just it's the pure numbers.
Like I bet they keep 10 defensive backs
between the two. 6 and 4,
maybe 9. They kept 10 off him with Killebrew. Well, let's call Ramsey a corner for the fun.
Okay.
Of it.
So,
but I think we can say these things, but like. They supposedly brought in Jalen Johnson in for a visit today. Or not Jalen Johnson, Chris Johnson.
Chris Johnson.
Who would be an early second-round pick, and he's a strict outside corner. If they plan on drafting a strict outside corner, he's going to make the team, especially an early second-round pick, and they might view Ramsey as a safety. So this one's still – if you've noticed, every time we have a beat reporter on or anyone around the team, I'm like, what do you think Ramsey is?
What do you think about Ramsey?
Yeah, right. And maybe the answer is we don't have to know now.
I think that is certainly
which is kind of cool.
Certainly fair.
But he's going to make the team.
Maybe
he's his own category.
So let's maybe we should just do this as defensive backs all kind of lumped in as one. But let's let's count Ramsey as a corner for now and do it that way. So Ramsey, Joey Porter Jr., Jamel Dean, Brandon Eccles, Asante Samuel. That's 5.
Those 5 are making the team.
Yes. I think that's the number for me. I'm not counting Trice. I'm not counting Dante Kent.
That's why I think that they might not draft one.
They might. If they truly view Ramsey as a corner, he's going to be that big slot, that big nickel. Then I don't think that they'll draft him.
Right.
Because they'll say we have Dante
pick.
Kent, we have Corey Trice.
Right.
We'll let those guys battle it out for potentially the last spot if we think one is capable.
Trice they still love. It's just, do we trust him? Kent did nothing wrong. I mean, I don't think they lost faith in him, but maybe this coaching staff doesn't like him as much. He does have some special teams value. I mean, you could go to camp with just that group basically and not draft one.
Yeah.
I bet. I mean, if they if they make 10 picks, I bet they take one on the 6th or 7th round. But it's also odd to me that they brought in a guy that's a high pick for a visit.
It's you're reading the tea leaves.
Yeah, right.
And then so we'll go 5 for corner, counting Ramsey there, and then if we go safety, Deshaun Elliott
in,
Jaquan Brisker
in.
That might be it at this point.
Right. I know Savage has been thrown out there, but he's not officially on the team.
Until it's officially announced by the team, we're going to leave it there.
He's had a weird career. I'm not even sure he'd be guaranteed a roster spot. Before we'd even comment that, I would like to.
Sebastian Castro, he'll be in the mix, but he's certainly not guaranteed. Yeah.
They should probably draft a safety, even if they look at Ramsey as safety only. He's never going to play the slot again in his life. I think you have to draft a safety.
All right.
And it's a great safety draft, and there's a lot of speed there to draft from, and that'll also be a special team guy, you would hope.
21 in total we have there for the defense.
How many defensive backs total? 5
corners, 2 safeties, 7 total.
Okay.
That is, again, with Ramsey as a corner, but you could flip-flop them and make it 4 and 3 instead of 5 and 2.
Super quick conversation. The 3 specialists.
Kuntz
and Boz are in. Johnston or another punter is in. They're only going to keep 3. Yeah, it's going to be 3 no matter what.
Yes.
Maybe they bring in an undrafted punter or a 7th-round punter or something like that, but who cares?
So that's in total,
Not
Matt.
going to keep them both.
In total, that's 40.
But there was a lot more defense than offense, right?
16 compared to 21, which I think
makes a big difference.
Which I think makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a veteran established defense with a lot of guys that, have been all pros, are going to go to Canton one day.
We know there's more money invested on that side.
There's more money invested on that side.
Yeah.
You've had recent like your first round pick was a defensive lineman last year.
Yeah. The guys that are guaranteed to make the team, the Bentons and Porters and those guys too.
Exactly.
They're kind of like the Fraziers and Faltanus.
Exactly right.
So what this tells us is there are room for more things. I mean, you could certainly add somebody else in free agency, a guard, or you could even add a Christian Kirk, Calvin Austin like wide receiver at the right price 2 weeks from now. But I also think it's pretty safe to say it's going to be an offensive-heavy draft.
Yes.
I think we know that. I mean,
Yes.
by doing this exercise, you know that. I don't know how many picks they'll make. I still don't think they'll make 12, even though they could conceivably get all 12 on the roster. But that's a tight squeeze.
So if we, by that list now, 40 names out of 53 plus a practice squad. So that's still a lot of spots
That's
up
a
for
lot
grabs.
of new Steelers that are in the horizon.
A lot of spots up for grabs.
Yeah, there really are. And again, you'll grab 2 or 3 guys, maybe even more, post-draft that people have heard of. Like Joe Hayden came then. I mean, usually doesn't go that well.
That's a little bit of an outlier, but still,
But
it's a fair
they'll
example.
every year they've added 2 or 3 veterans that have had 5 or 6
Who was the
careers.
couple years ago during training camp traded for the linebacker that was with
I said there was a lot of linebackers.
was with the Browns, and it was Schobert. Was that his last name? Is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
right? Was
Joe
with
Schobert,
Joe
yeah.
Schobert was with the Browns, and then the Jags. The Steelers traded
There's
for him in training
plenty
camp.
of examples, right?
Yeah.
I remember
Vance McDonald was added during the Vanimal was added during training camp from San Francisco.
Yeah.
So, but that's a lot. As much as there's a lot of established guys, there's still a lot of seats left in the musical chairs equation.
Yeah. So I guess between now and between now and training camp, you and I will introduce 15 new Steelers.
Yeah.
Not everyone that'll definitely make the team, but 15 that are either drafted or
Signed.
free agents or something. And unfortunately, when you get to the final cuts, you're going to put 3 of these guys on IR, unfortunately, or 2 of them. You hope it's not Watt, Metcalf, and Ham.
Right. Don't even say that, Matthew.
Right. Right. And some of them, sometimes they have a hangnail and they go in injury reserve and despise you a year. But people will get hurt between now and then.
Yes.
This is not an easy game.
That
That's roster building 101.
That was a fun exercise.
Yeah.
Maybe we do this again.
And you're going to get real crazy. Do this in June when we're bored. And just look who's under contract a year from now.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to
You'll
revisit.
be like, boy, they have no safeties on the whole team.
We will
they're
have
definitely
to-
drafting a safety.
We will have to revisit
Yeah.
some version of this exercise later on in the offseason for sure. But that will do it for the first hour of the show. On the other side, we got a fun tweet from Nick the other day about if we were to put all the quarterbacks in the NFL right now into a draft pool, how would we pick them? We'll kick that around a little bit.
Okay, I got some ideas on how to tweak that just a little.
I love it.
Because that's a massive undertaking.
We'll do it live.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think
I love doing it live.
I don't think we needed to necessarily draft 16 each.
Right.
But we'll put some parameters around it to kick off hour number 2.
Yeah.
Wes Uhler, Matt Williamson, halfway home. It's The Drive, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Good evening, Steeler Nation. How we doing? Well, that's good. Us too. They don't say top of the evening to you. They say top of the morning. But regardless, happy St. Patrick's Day. Having some fun with the intro once again.
That was a fun trip, wasn't it?
It sure was. It sure was. I actually was like, you can go through the pictures on your iPhone.
Yeah.
You can search like just by a location.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So earlier today, like I just put in Dublin. And
Yeah.
I was looking back through some of the pictures. I was like, man, that was a lot of fun. The picture of you sitting out on the porch. I've never seen you smiling that much in my life.
No, I don't even remember it, but yeah.
It's the one that's your profile picture now. With
Oh,
the
yeah.
Guinness in front
Bunch
of you.
Guinnesses in front of me. They weren't all mine.
I've never seen that smile that wide in his
like
life,
a butcher's
baby.
dog, yeah.
Oh, man, that trip was a lot of fun. And certainly the fact that the Steelers were able to claim victory there in that first ever Dublin game at Croke Park, regular season Dublin game at Croke Park, put the cherry on the top, absolutely. Hour number 2 here of The Drive. We will get to tweets before we get out of here. You guys know where to get at us if you want to get involved. But Matt, a few days ago, we got a tweet from Nick, and I bookmarked this. We said we would do this sometime this week. I thought now would be a great time to do so. Basically, Nick's tweet was, I would love for you guys to do an NFL quarterback draft, the guys in the league right now, who you would take for the next 5 seasons.
Okay. I couldn't remember what his parameters were.
So,
okay.
I
Like Matthew Stafford would be pretty low.
Correct.
Rodgers would be incredibly low.
Correct.
Okay.
I think that 5-year parameter is a good
Oh, I think it's a good way of looking at it. Yeah.
because it's enough of a long-term plan, but it's not like for the next decade where so much is unpredictable.
All right, so I have questions for you.
Okay.
That was question number one. Is it for now or is it for
building for the future?
Forever, or is there somewhere in between? I like the somewhere in between
is
part.
a good pick, yeah.
Because Stafford might be drafted. I mean, because 2 years Stafford's pretty good. Should we include guys from this draft? Mendoza, Simpson, etc. I would vote no.
Okay,
but
we don't have to. I mean, honestly,
I feel like Mendoza we should.
There's only one that would be in consideration, so it's really just if you want to include Mendoza.
Like, I don't think this is going to be a 32-guy draft either.
No.
I mean, maybe it's 15 names or whatever.
Right.
Should we include – I think the answer to this is yes, but they may not even get drafted. Carr, Cousins, Mac Jones.
Yes.
You know, they're going to be in the NFL this year. Two of them aren't at the moment.
Carr is a little different, but I think if you played in the NFL last year, you're in this conversation, and we can throw in Derek Carr. I don't think
he's back.
Yeah, and I don't think we probably won't even get that deep on the list.
Like, I'm not going to pick Cousins in the top 20.
Do you want to go 16? That would give us 8 and 8.
Okay.
Is that a good number?
So I was also this is how I do things like this for my own lists. Which would eliminate the draft aspect of it, but I find it much easier to break things down into subsets. So how I would do it, if someone asked me to do this alone, Matt's list, I would take the AFC East and I would go, okay, that's Allen 1, May 2, Willis 3, Geno 4. Okay. That's one list. Okay. And then I would do that for 7 more divisions. This is just how my goofy brain works.
Weird world of Matt
And
Williamson.
then you look at all the ones and you rank those 8. And so whoever comes out, if you take Allen, well, May then moves up to 1. And then you look at the ones again. Who's the next best? Because you don't want to you could take 2 from the same division.
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
You might go Mahomes, Herbert, or whatever. You know what I mean? It's a little bit of a long process, but if you want to keep track, we could do it, and that would kind of eliminate the drafting of it. But I think it would also kind of rank them, and we could fight about it. I'm not trying to, take control of it. You know what I mean?
I kind of like the idea of almost doing it just like it's a quarterback fantasy draft.
Okay.
And someone gets first pick, the next person gets 2 in a row, and then we alternate from there.
And just scrap all that.
Does that work for you?
Yes, that's absolutely works for me. I just don't want to forget anybody, but I don't think I will.
No, yeah,
you know what I mean.
We could we don't have to rush through this, but we can talk it out as we go.
TV, flip a coin.
I was just going to say, does anybody have a
two.
coin in here? Do you want to do the 1 or 2 behind your back? What do you? I actually looked in my backpack before we came on air, and I do not have any. The good millennial that I am, no change.
Oh,
in my
there
backpack.
it is. I'll take that.
All
right.
I love it.
Call it.
Is that heads or tails?
Heads or tails?
Tails never fails.
Tails it is. So you can either pick 1 or the next 2. Here's your tip.
Oh, man.
I'd take the next 2.
I think I want the next 2. I think I want the next 2.
1 was always a slam dunk. I just don't think it's a slam dunk now.
I think it's a 2-horse race.
I'll take Mahomes.
I had a feeling you were going to.
I'd kick. I couldn't look at myself in the mirror if I didn't.
Yeah.
I mean,
and that's.
He's got a lot of rings.
He has plenty.
He's got a lot of rings.
I'll go with
And I'm not even thinking about his injury. I'm not going to take it to that level. It's like, who do you want for the next 5 years? I'm not going to be like, well, he might not be ready for week 1. You know, like I'm going to count Daniel Jones and some of these dudes. You know,
correct.
Yeah, I'm going to count like
yes.
they're.
I'm glad you mentioned that too.
Okay, but don't forget Mendoza. He could be in the mix.
Mendoza can be in the mix. Yes. I'm obviously going to go Josh Allen as my first pick. I think I'm going to go Joe Burrow with my other one.
Okay, now do I get 2 or 1?
Now I think we just
go
back.
1.
I think we just go back and forth 1 and 1 at this point.
Okay, this is still easy for me. And after this one, I might just talk through names so I don't forget anybody. Yeah. But I'm taking Lamar.
Okay. I
do feel like there's a chance that we're talking about a decline, but he's too special for me not to. I'm not letting you take Allen, Burrow, and Lamar.
That would have been very nice of you.
Yeah, I'm just not going to let that happen.
I thought those would be the top 4.
I still think they're the tier 1 guys.
I didn't know
like
if
when
maybe
Sandoz tiers comes out. I think they will be the top tier.
I didn't know if maybe you'd throw a Drake May in there or something like that to throw a little curveball at me. But
you know I love him. He crossed my mind. But Lamar's more the bird in the hand.
After these four, I think it starts to get a little more difficult.
I do too.
Now, I'm probably looking at this the wrong way because I'm looking like I got Josh Allen, I got Joe Burrow. I'm like, I need somebody who's proven a little something to me here.
It's like, I'm not going to look at it that way. I'm not building a team.
I shouldn't. And I should just take Justin Herbert and not be dumb. But in my mind, then I'm like, I've got Josh Allen, who's never won anything. I've got Joe Burrow, who hasn't been to the playoffs in 3 years. And I've got Justin Herbert, who everyone talks about.
Because you're not fielding a team. It's not like, this guy only plays right tackle. I can't have two right tackles. Right.
But I think I have to take Herbert here. I got to do it.
I don't blame you.
I'm going to take Justin Herbert.
So I'm just going to do this super quick. Just scanning the league, I think the names we should be considering at this point. I'll go division by division. May's the only one left in the East.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's anybody in the North anymore.
No.
Just names to be considered. Ward, Stroud, Lawrence.
Absolutely.
I guess Jones. I mean, maybe he gets drafted if we last long enough.
Dak.
That's not how my mind works. I'm still on the West.
You're still
in the AFC. Mendoza.
Yeah.
Nix.
Yes.
He's getting better. 2 are already gone from there. Dak, Hurts, Dart, Jaden for sure. Caleb, Love, Goff, Kyler, Shuck. I don't think anybody in Atlanta I'm considering. Baker. I won't take Young. You can have him, but we can at least make sure that everyone remembers the name.
Sure.
Nobody from Arizona. I don't think I can take Stafford for a 5-year project.
I don't think so.
Purdy's a good player. And Darnold. I'll take May.
I had a feeling that was going to be your pick.
Yeah. I
think that's a good pick. I know a lot of people soured on him after the Super Bowl, but that's just one game. I'm not ready to give up on him yet. I had a feeling you were going to take May. So we each have 3 off the board. You have Mahomes, Lamar, and Drake May. I have Allen, Burrow, Herbert. I think that's a pretty good trio for each of us.
This might be the hardest pick.
I think I was just going to say.
Yeah, like I can make a case for 5 names
I can make a case for Trevor Lawrence. I can make a case for Dak Prescott, for Jordan Love. I don't know. Maybe I'm going recency here. I might take Caleb Williams here.
I don't blame you one bit.
2nd year in the books. I think he's only going to get better in that system. I think they got some work to do on the offensive line, but I think they've got a real nice offense built around him.
I don't think it's insane to think in 3 years or 4 years he might be the first pick. I mean, he's capable of getting there. Some of these guys, Hurts can't get there.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And it's like evaluating that versus like a Trevor Lawrence, who feels like he's turned a corner, but do I think he's the 7th best quarterback in the NFL at this point? Now, I don't know if Caleb Williams is the 7th best quarterback in the NFL at this point, but I could certainly see him getting there.
But in 2 years, you might be like he's easily, or 3 years or 4 years when he's 28.
I think I'm going Caleb Williams here.
For basically the same reasons, I'm going to take Jaden Daniels then. They were going to be my next 2 picks, to be honest with you. I didn't want to divulge that because I thought you might still back out of Caleb Williams. I maybe would sneak them both. But I think that's the way you got to look at it.
Yes,
like,
it's a 5-year plan.
I like using Sandoz tiers. Like, who are we talking about that could become tier 1 over that 5-year stretch? I think May, Daniels, and
Williams
Caleb
would be
all
the
qualify.
Top candidates.
They all could get there. Like to say Ward or Mendoza, it's like, yeah, maybe, but I just haven't seen much to go off of to say that you're at least on the right path. I mean, to get to tier 1, there's only like 3 or 4 on the planet.
Now my mind starts to think more about Trevor Lawrence here. 8 names off the board, so this is pick number 9. I'm thinking Trevor Lawrence. I'm thinking Jordan Love. I'm thinking Cam Ward. I think I'm going to go Jordan Love here with my 5th pick.
I was about to as well. So we've really taken each other's guys for the most part. Is there a name I'm forgetting?
Dak is still on the board. Trevor Lawrence is still on the board. Purdy, Darnold, Cam Ward, C.J. Stroud, Goff, Hurts, Mayfield. I say Purdy. Yeah. Purdy's still on the board.
Yeah, I'm going to take Lawrence. I mean, the ability's still obvious. Finally was put in a good situation. Some of his early struggles are on him too, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be at least a tier 2 player 5 years from now. Now, and that's what you're getting here. I mean, that's a good draft pick.
I think he's turned the corner in terms of it feels like he's got a real floor now.
Yeah.
How great he can ultimately be, still up in the air, but I think this is a safe.
I don't know if we're predicting Hall of Fame anymore, but like he's going to have a good career.
Yes. So this is pick 11 here. After taking some young upstarts in Caleb Williams and Jordan Love, I think I'm going to go with a little bit of the bird in the hand on this one instead of another young, still wait-and-see commodity. I think I'm going to go Dak Prescott here.
Okay. My only worry is what is he in 5 years? He
Sure.
might be out of the league. I bet you definitely get 3 out of him.
But if I get 3 really good years out of him.
Yeah. I mean, he's still playing as a top 10 guy for sure. I'm going to do the total opposite thing, though, and I'm going to take Ward.
Dang it!
Because he could totally flop.
I was hoping I could let him slide one more round.
I mean, in 5 years, he might be on his second team or fourth team like Darnold or Mayfield. I mean,
Sure.
If we were taking those guys high when they year one of their career, and that would not have gone well.
So here's where we're at 12 picks through. We still have Stafford on the board, Purdy on the board, Darnold on the board, Mayfield, C.J. Stroud, Tyler Shuck, Jalen Hurts, Jared Goff, Mendoza. But we're starting to get
It's getting pretty thin, yeah.
into a thinner
Daniel Jones.
Yep, into
Baker. I think you mentioned him.
into a thinner tier here. I think is the way that I would put it.
Nick's is kind of interesting
yeah,
too.
Nick's is kind of interesting for this conversation.
Willis. I should have at least brought him up.
Yep. Next 5 years. So I'm still waiting on Matthew Stafford. There will come a point where it's like, hey, he's a better option than anybody that's left, even if you only get 1 year out of him.
You might only get one, though. Like Rodgers is only 1 year. Like you can't even consider him.
Yeah. Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold.
Purdy's a good football player.
You know what?
I never give him enough credit.
This might be the point, though, where I buy a stock at its lowest and hope that it, 6 months from now, it's sitting pretty. I might go C.J. Stroud here.
Ooh, I was thinking about that, too.
I think I'm going to go C.J. Stroud here.
Like, frankly, if I often think of quarterbacks as stocks, and
you're getting them for pennies on the dollar right now.
I would buy him right now, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm going to do what I did just with Ward, too, because I have basically an equal grade on Ward and Mendoza.
You son of a gun!
And if you
Thought
noticed,
I could stash him for one more round.
Yeah, and if you notice, I was kind of planting seeds like Purdy's a good player.
Yeah.
Let's not talk about Mendoza. Yeah.
Purdy.
I bet Mendoza's going to have a good career, but we say that about every first overall pick. He might look horrendous, but
He could.
Still, we're buying for 5 years.
Buying for 5 years.
Yeah.
This is a long-term investment here.
Yeah. How many more are we picking?
So that's 4. We each have 7. That's 14 total. Should we do one more each?
At least. Yeah.
That'll put us at half the league.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Trying to think who my next pick would be.
I think I'm going to go Sam Darnold here. I
get it.
I was thinking about going the younger route once again, but I got a lot of those guys.
I think success with 2 different teams kind of shows that it's me, not you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need the world to be perfect for me.
If he's in a situation like Seattle over the next 5 years, he might not get back to another Super Bowl, but he'll have a lot of success.
Here's another one that's sort of like Dak. I'm going to take Goff.
Okay.
I think Goff's good.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
He's won a lot. He's been to Super Bowls. I don't see any decline. Those pocket passers tend to kind of drift away slow. I just wonder year 4 and 5, will I be thrilled about him,
So we did go 16 deep, and nobody picked Brock Purdy. Is that the biggest name still on the list? Baker's still there.
Baker
Stafford,
finished the season so bad.
poorly.
I bet some people would take Young. I want nothing to do with Young.
No, I'd take Shuck before.
I'd say I'd take Shuck. Like out of that division, I would take Shuck would be my first pick.
Mm-hmm.
Willis wouldn't be too far off for me. And you might miss.
Sure.
But you're taking a cut. I guess Purdy's probably the biggest name not drafted.
Probably Purdy.
We might regret not taking Kyler.
Ooh.
I mean, he's another
Could be in a
stock.
good spot.
I mean, his stock is low. I mean, and I'd buy that stock right now. That I bet it goes up. It might not go through the roof, but I bet it goes up.
I think this is a good list of 16, though. I think that's a good place to cut it off. So let us know.
You wouldn't consider Mac Jones.
No.
I didn't even go down this road, but I wouldn't have considered Simpson.
I wouldn't consider Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, I'm not. I've never. I think Hurts is a bit of a fugazi.
Then it really gets fun if you do like how do you compare like the Baker Mayfields and the Jalen Hurtses to like Arch Manning and Dante Moore. And,
I'll take all those guys.
Yeah, I'd take all those guys.
Yeah.
Might as well.
Archer got drafted well before this.
Might as well at that point.
Yeah.
So Matt's 8 are Mahomes, Lamar, Drake May, Jaden Daniels, Trevor Lawrence, Cam Ward, Fernando Mendoza, and Jared Goff. My 8, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Josh Herbert, Caleb Williams, Jordan Love, Dak Prescott, C.J. Stroud, and Sam Darnold.
Did we sell Bo Nix short?
I think him or Brock Purdy would be next in my conversation. Maybe Tyler Shuck too.
Nix might have won the Super Bowl if he stays healthy.
Maybe.
You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Kyler,
but
I think, is another guy we might
won a
as well
Super Bowl like 400 days ago, and we're not picking him.
And now he's throwing the Waddle. I mean, like I don't care about their surroundings. You can't look at it like Nix's stock went up today because they traded for Waddle. That's not the way I view it.
Of all the people not picked, I would say Nix has the best chance to if we were to run this list back halfway through the season.
Yeah,
to
we
be
do
honest.
week 8. Like Nix, I want Nix.
Yeah,
he's gonna be a 12-year starter and win a lot of games.
Yeah, but that was fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Let us know whose draft you like better. Maybe we'll do this again at some point. Maybe during like the bye week or something. And
of course we're on
November.
SNR. I mean, how do the Steelers get one of those?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I would really like one of those, particularly the first 10 or so that we picked.
No doubt. I mean, those are the superheroes, but I want one of those. I mean, I want one of the 16.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yes, I do. So let's table that for now. You can let us know on Twitter how you think we did. I do want to talk about some sink or swim years for some of these quarterbacks in the NFL when we return to kind of piggyback off of this exercise. We'll do that before we get to your tweets to close this thing down for the day. It is The Drive, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Guess maybe this is like the quarterback hour here today.
All right.
On
That's
the
why
show.
you got to do that.
Sometimes you got to do that. So, Matt, we just did our draft. We went 8 rounds deep, 16 total of the quarterbacks we would want for the next 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk with you about a trio of guys that I have here. You can always throw in any other names.
Yeah.
But J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix Jr., and Kyler Murray. Now,
you said what, make it or break it?
kind of sink or swim type years.
Yeah.
And now, to be fair, I think Kyler Murray's a little bit of a different story because
he's different than the other two.
Those two are still on their first franchise, first contract. If they don't have a good year this year, they will get another opportunity elsewhere. Not the same opportunity that they have now, but it's not like they're going to wash out of the league if they don't perform this year.
But
Kyler
they could
Murray,
be on the Fields path, which is not a path you want to go.
Yes.
I mean, they could go Fields or Darnold, Mayfield, Daniel Jones.
And maybe there's a little bit of a middle
and
ground
there definitely is a middle ground.
Geno
right.
Smith middle ground.
Right. Where
Ryan Tannehill middle ground.
You're like prove that you can be a starter or not.
Mm-hmm.
And that a team will have enough faith in you to be a starter or not.
Are those 3 fair 3? Is there anybody else we should be adding? Like, I feel like it's too early for Tyler Shuck. You know, like too early in this conversation.
It's unfortunate, kind of unfortunate for McCarthy and Penix that they're already in this situation. Because some of it's not their fault. I mean, McCarthy missed his entire rookie year.
Put Willis in that conversation too. But we've already talked about him so much.
We have talked about him quite a bit. Kyler is different. I mean, I think Kyler's getting to the point like where Darnold was when he went to Minnesota. You know, like if you don't make it here, you'll probably be a lifetime backup.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like this is probably your last chance to definitely be a starter, an unquestioned starter.
Yes.
There's I guess
a
one way of putting it.
top 20 guy in the league. Or
yeah. Stroud's at a little bit of a make or break point too.
Oh man, that's a good one
because he has not gotten the contract yet. I think he will before training camp or before the regular season. But there's got to be some trepidation.
It's a different make or break than McCarthy and Penix, but but still, that's a fair name to bring into the fold.
I mean, he's kind of at a career crossroads.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's a better way of putting it, even too.
Yeah, like, maybe Daniel Jones in this conversation,
especially because of his injury.
Yeah,
you know, like he was a success, but how do you rebound from injury?
Like, I'm not counting Geno in this conversation.
No,
he's on the,
or like
he's on the back.
Carr
Those
or
guys,
Cousins,
they're
right.
they're teeing off on hole 17. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they can see the clubhouse.
Most
in the
of their
distance.
books written, and
Yes.
it's been good enough that they're still
Yes.
making money and doing this for a living.
These guys like
and-
Penix and McCarthy, they're on the front nine still. You know,
Yeah.
Kyler Murray, he's at the turn. He's halfway through.
Yeah.
He's halfway through his round.
And you can't do like the Will Howards of the world
No.
yet either. You know, like
Yeah.
there are guys, not Will Howard, but there are guys that, I better have a pretty good camp or I'm not going to be in the league anymore. And I'm going to have to be a high school coach or just sell insurance. So there's those guys. That's not what we're talking about, though.
McCarthy, Penix, Murray, C.J. Stroud. Are those the big four?
In the Stroud mold, I might put Hurts.
Ooh,
Not the most patient.
Sneaky,
Yeah.
That's a sneaky good one.
Because he's making, I mean, we wouldn't have put Tua here last year, and he sank.
One thing, though, that I will say for this, I don't. This is no secret to you. The Eagles are very much so. They do things the way they do things,
Yeah.
and for the most part, that's been good. They've been to 3 Super Bowls in the last 8 or 9 years.
They're one of the model organizations, all in all.
But sometimes that causes them to be a little stubborn too. And I think Jeffrey Lurie, the owner, and Howie Roseman, the GM, they are just Jalen Hurts guys. You know, like
Okay.
they cast aside Carson Wentz, who would have won an MVP, and went
Yeah.
to go to Hurts when everyone thought that was crazy. Now they were right, but they were way ahead of the curve on that. There's been
So I know, not that you're close to the organization, but you were closer at least.
I worked there for 3
Yeah,
years, and
yeah.
I have relationships still with a lot of people who are close to the organization. and
Let's say
just
they
seem-
win 9 or 10 games and don't quite even get in the playoffs this year.
Now
And
that could change everything. Sure.
would you think they'd blame the coach over the quarterback?
1,000%.
I do
That's the
too.
best. Sirianni will go before Hurts does. A.J. Brown will go before Hurts does.
Yeah.
They'll
But I could
remake
also see the
they'll remake the
conversation-
entire offense before Hurts does.
Okay. See, I was also thinking,
Like
because I was going to lead that off
love
with
that guy.
Okay. I mean, and that's a really good point.
Model citizen, model
Oh,
employee.
everyone loves him. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
The hardest worker,
Yep.
first one in, first
Yep.
last one. Blah, blah. See, I was thinking not the most patient organization.
True.
Maybe stubborn, but not patient.
True, but they do stand by their people.
Okay. Because if they looked at it like, boy, this quarter, kind of like the Rams did with Goff. Like, if we can upgrade this spot, we're back to being the best team in the league.
Yeah.
That's why I thought maybe with him. I think Baker's in this conversation too.
Baker's definitely in this conversation.
Second half of the season was terrible. And a lot of it was injury and stuff too. But
That's the stuff you got to be able to overcome if
Right.
you want to stay in these,
'Cause-
solidified franchise quarterback roles.
so I'm sitting here thinking, like, who are sneaky teams that if there are 6 or 7 first-round quarterbacks that might be like, I've seen enough of my guy, I'm going to go take door number 2.
I think Baker's
I
certainly
think
in
Tampa
that.
could definitely be that team.
Mm-hmm. I don't think Goff's there, but maybe if the Lions took another
They
step
don't
back
make the
this
playoffs
season,
again, and you
yeah.
just look at his age,
Yeah.
and they try to trade him to a team like Pittsburgh or whoever,
Mhm.
you know what I mean,
Mhm.
and say, we'll go, and we have cap issues, we need a younger guy. There's more than you think when you look at it that way, because like Bryce Young,
Mm-hmm.
you could easily come to the conclusion, like, he's not good enough.
Yeah.
He's good, but he's not good enough.
Yeah.
And that's career crossroads.
There's a
stuff,
lot
you
of
know?
those, in
Yeah.
the league. So that's a pretty good list.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like maybe there's somebody that we're forgetting, but I do feel like that's a pretty good
Like you'd
list.
think like Darnold's safe for another year.
Yes.
Even if they didn't make the playoffs.
Yes.
Or Purdy, probably safe for another year.
And again, some of these young guys like a Jackson Dart, I still think that's a different conversation.
Yeah, it's a different conversation.
That's just a do you belong, not do you should you stay. These are kind of should you stay
Mm-hmm.
conversations versus the do you belong ones.
like we might be having, like Shador doesn't count to me because I don't
Correct.
think he's.
Deshaun Watson might count if he gets back on the
Yeah,
field. At any point.
right. He may never play football again after this year or whatever. I mean, Shador kind of counts in that if he's the opening day starter, what would he have to do to keep his job for the next year? He'd have to do a lot.
A lot.
And it's probably out kicking his coverage. The thing about like a Dart, though, is that team has not won a lot of games lately. If you get to
7 or 8 wins this year.
Yeah, I'm thinking if you get to 5 wins again and he was hurt for 7 games.
Harbaugh spends a year with them and is like,
Nope.
I'm not going to be able to win a Super Bowl.
I
with
want
this guy.
Sellers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're right about next year's quarterback class, there's really more names than you think because door number 2 is beautiful. It's still an unknown.
It's a big pond with some big fish.
Yeah. I mean, you're going fish, but there's a lot of aces and kings in that pile.
You're going fish in
right.
the pond that you and Grandpappy stocked back in the spring, and there's some largemouth bass in that thing.
And you're like, I don't need to spend $60 million in cap space on a quarterback. I'm gonna roll the dice on the rookie who might be the next stud. But like Nix is safe.
Yes. I mean, it would have to be a disastrous season, but yes.
He's like the worst quarterback in the league, and I can't imagine,
Right.
Anybody we just drafted is safe.
You think that Patrick Mahomes guy's safe in Kansas City? I don't know. They just had a losing season. What if they have another one? Yeah.
I mean, those 16 we took are safe.
Brock Purdy's totally safe, right?
Totally
I mean, he's got the contract. They went 12-5.
The only way he'd not be
what
safe.
What if Kyle Shanahan looks in the mirror and does the McVay thing?
See, that's what I say. My buddy just did this, and it worked.
I've got the 12th best, 13th best quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
But is that
I'll send you Purdy and 2 firsts for Burrow.
If I would have had Purdy now with my 2019 Niners defense, sure. Different conversation, but our roster's not quite what it was 5-6 years ago. He's a little bit better, but we don't have the roster to do the Eagles or the Seahawks thing where we have the 12th best quarterback and win the Super Bowl.
So here was also my Purdy scenario: is he plays 5 games, they win 3 or 4 of them, gets hurt. Mac Jones comes in and is better. And Purdy's out for the year and never gets to get back on the horse. And the Niners just feel like, well, hey, Pittsburgh, do you want Purdy? Hey, Jets, do you want Purdy? Because Mac's our guy now.
Yeah.
You could get Wally pipped in a way,
It is funny. I'm looking at just the teams that made the playoffs last year, especially. I would say Carolina is the only one whose quarterback is really in danger. Nix, May, Lawrence.
I'm not there on Stroud.
Not there on Stroud. Obviously, Josh Allen and Herbert. Seahawks, no. Bears, no. Eagles, okay. Maybe different conversation. But
Tampa
Panthers
didn't make the playoffs.
Tampa did not make the playoffs. The Lions did not make the playoffs. The Colts did not make the playoffs.
I think we'd agree that if a playoff quarterback from last year was not the starter in 2027
Bryce
for
Young.
the same team, it's Young.
That would be the odds on.
Right.
That's the
Steelers don't count.
That's the you got to bet $300 to win $50.
Yeah. Steelers don't count
because their quarterback's going to be 43 at Christmas. The guy that we think is going to be their quarterback, is 43.
I'm pretty certain that.
And I wouldn't include the Rams in that either because if Stafford's not back in 2027,
retirement's a different story.
Retirement's a different story.
Right, because it's not make or break time. They're going to the Hall of Fame.
That's exactly right.
They've made it.
Yeah, Stafford and Rodgers are going to the Hall of Fame.
I think their career crossroads. They made the right choice at the crossroads.
They could see the clubhouse, but the clubhouse includes a gold jacket for those guys.
There's a lot of birdies on that. Yeah.
Let's take our last break of the day here. We will close things down with your participation. Your questions, your comments, concerns, reactions, all the tweets on the other side before we get out of here. Wes Uhler and Matt Williamson, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network. Final segment here on this St. Patrick's Day Tuesday. You have any specific Patties-related plans for this evening?
Not at all.
Yeah, same.
Yep.
Same. I'm not Irish. I am completely German and English. I do love the Irish culture. I do love Guinness.
Yeah.
I did have I did have a Reuben over the weekend. I did have some corned beef over the weekend.
I had a Reuben at the facility today for lunch.
Nice.
That was nice. Yeah.
Nice. But that's about it. You
Yeah.
know, wore my.
For me, it's just a Tuesday. I think more or less.
Yeah. Same. Might crack another Guinness tonight though. We'll see. Twist my arm.
Yeah, I may have an Irish whiskey perhaps.
I hear you have some of that in your basement.
A little bit. Maybe I'll crack
a
a Redbreast or something better than usual.
Question for you. I've been watching through Peaky Blinders again because the movie is coming out here.
Yeah.
And I think this was an old-timey thing, but like every time they go in the bar and they order rounds of whiskey, the barkeep is always like Irish or Scottish. Is that just bourbon and Scotch? Is that the difference?
No. Sort of.
This is Wes's tweet to you, Matt.
Okay.
What's the difference between Irish and Scottish whiskey?
So, whiskey, bourbon is a branch of whiskey.
Okay.
That is American, and there are rules for it I don't know the rules off the top of my head.
Sure, but kind of like tequila and mezcal, like similar.
And
how
think of
they're
a better
brewed with
example.
their
No, it's almost like looking at like
beer,
a
but
family tree. Like
Okay.
this is whiskey, vodka, tequila. They're all their own things, and then here are the branches.
So like
of it.
beer, maybe with lager and pilsner and IPA.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I know there's others, but to generalize, whiskey. Here's one branch: Canadian,
Yep.
Crown Royal.
Yep.
There's not many of them in the liquor store. Don't get me wrong. Bourbon, very, very American, very Kentucky.
Maker's Mark.
Yeah,
Buffalo
right,
Trace.
right, exactly. Now there's many other American whiskeys that don't fit the exact rules
Because there's
of
rye
bourbon.
whiskey and all this stuff
Yes,
too.
and even like Jack Daniel's is not bourbon. You won't see the word bourbon on it.
Right.
And a lot of it is what percentage of corn you use and all those type of things, which I kind of know, but I don't know
You're
well enough.
splitting hairs a little
Right,
bit. Yeah.
right. So more or less American whiskey.
Okay.
Now there's also like Japanese too, but I've not really sampled it.
Sure.
But then Irish and Scotch, it's Scotch. It's
Right.
not Scottish whiskey,
Right.
it's Scotch.
Scotch.
They're very different to me.
Okay.
Scotch, people love Scotch or they don't like Scotch. I don't like Scotch. I grew up on bourbon. I like Irish a lot. Think Bushmills, Jameson.
Mhm.
They're the two biggest hitters.
Redbird, right? Isn't that one?
Redbreast
Redbreast?
is one you'll find in liquor stores, a little more expensive. Tullamore Dew. But the Scotches are the ones that are like
Lafroig.
Yeah. Now, some people might think Irish and Scotch are similar. Sort of. Irish is way smoother, and I just never liked Scotch.
Okay.
There was even a summer, my former brother-in-law was a big Scotch guy, so I kept it around. I'm like, I'd try it. I'm like, this is harsh for me.
Okay.
It's just not. I don't enjoy the taste of it, and people love it. I mean, people that are
The people that like Scotch.
Yeah, like I didn't chew tobacco much, but like the Copenhagen people only chewed Copenhagen. You know, like Scotch people seem to only like Scotch, and there's also again, people know more about this than me.
Highland whiskey and all that stuff.
In Scotland, there's lowland Scotch and there's Highland Scotch, and one of them is much earthier, peatier,
Okay.
harder to get down for me
Sure.
than the Highland stuff. You know,
Okay.
to me, it tastes like dirt almost.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's super strong. Like, even when I would open a Scotch, I got some of the better ones. Well, not the best ones, not $100 bottles,
But not
good
cheapo
ones. Yeah,
ones either.
yeah. Like, if I would open a bottle of Scotch in my basement, my wife would be like,
You can smell it upstairs.
"Whoa, what is that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, ooh, this is not that bourbons aren't as strong. Some of them are 120 proof. It's just, to me, they just go down better. They taste better. I grew up on them. I like them better. Yeah,
I like it.
right.
You help me.
So they're all like different branches.
Williamson on whiskey there.
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah.
That makes
Something along those
makes
lines,
sense.
yeah.
I've never really known that, but that makes sense. All right, let's get into your
Irish
tweets.
is very smooth and very likable.
yeah.
Like, my mom used to drink a lot of bourbon. Now we'll drink like Irish and bourbon gives her heartburn. Now, I mean, she's almost 80 years old.
Sure.
Now she'll drink Irish, which is smoother.
Loves it.
Couple rocks or whatever,
Mhm.
you know, Jameson or whatever, and I highly recommend on a day like this. Give it a shot, folks.
Good stuff
So
there.
that's my second favorite.
Okay. Irish.
Bourbon
one, Irish two.
Yeah, bourbon's in the blood, you know.
Daniel tweets, it says, you guys mentioned the World Baseball Classic. It has me wondering if there was an NFL All-Star game where each state had its own team.
Oh, wow.
Who's in the Final Four? Who wins the whole thing? We might have to do this as an exercise one of these days. I need to do a little more research, but
I assume Texas is
Texas,
one.
Florida,
California's going to be
California, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Georgia. I mean, that's 5 there that
Yeah.
I named.
I bet PA's
Louisiana.
not as strong as like if you did the all-time team, PA could probably hang with anybody.
It's not as strong right now as some of the others, but I bet you it would still be in the top 7 or 8.
I would think so.
Virginia would be in the conversation.
Yeah.
Florida, Georgia, Louisiana.
I wonder, like Mississippi and some of the southern ones too.
That's a
might
good
be
question,
better than you
though.
think. Is Arizona better than I think? I don't know. You're like in the recruiting world, you can't recruit every state because there's just not enough manpower. Like we didn't recruit Minnesota. Someone gave us a tip on Larry, and that just kind of happened. He was like the only guy we ever got out of Minnesota.
Yeah.
But we only did like the states you could drive to basically, and Florida. And then my last year we picked up only Houston. Like let's dabble in Houston. And I remember putting on the Houston high school tape thinking this is the best of all of them. I mean, it was like Vince Young's year coming out, and like everyone would think, Friday Night Lights, the stadiums were like way nicer than Duquesne.
The size of the state is massive.
And the state of the human beings playing the game were crazy.
I would think Texas, Florida, and California would be towards the top of the conversation.
I would have to think so. I mean, Florida was always loaded.
And again, just the population sizes of those states too.
Yeah, just to show the strength of them. I mean, like schools that aren't close by recruited Florida and Texas just because there's, the Longhorns and Sooners can't take all of them.
Right. Right.
The U can't take all of them.
Sudesh tweets us and says, I'm looking forward to this draft like I used to look forward to Christmas vacation break from school. I feel like Omar has filled so many holes that the Steelers can truly draft BPA, with attention, of course, to wide receiver, offensive line, maybe safety, and defensive line. Sudesh asks, though, if we go hypothetical worst-case scenario and Broderick Jones isn't ready to play this year, what happens there? Do you roll it back with Dylan Cook and somebody else? What does that mean for the guard position as well? It's a good question by Sudesh there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure they have a clearer picture of that than we do. I think that's important to note in this.
The medical stuff they're going to be on top of. But and again, this is one of the reasons I love the offseason and the draft and free agency is if you're smart, you can read the tea leaves and figure out these things or think of those around you. Think what clues are they leaving us? What breadcrumbs are they leaving us? And that doesn't mean if they take a left tackle in the first round that Broderick's definitely not ready. But it makes you think. I guess that's not the best example because that position's weird, and I've mentioned this a few times. Sometimes I'll do a mock on my own and I'll just throw it out on Twitter, and people are like, "You're taking a left tackle way too early." I'm like, maybe, but most left tackles could play left guard this year and then maybe kick out.
Mm-hmm.
And I would hate for us to be sitting here next year.
I knew you were going to say this.
And I need a quarterback and a left tackle in the draft.
You can't
get both.
Position.
You can't get both. So I need to cover my butt, even if Cook is really good. Having an extra left tackle is not so bad. I mean, Jonathan Ogden started his career guard. He's 6'9",
Yes. It's a big guard. Here's a good one from Josiah. With all the wide receiver movement that we've seen in the last couple weeks, does that sound the alarm bells for what NFL teams think of this wide receiver draft class? We've seen trades for Waddle, for Pittman, for DJ Moore. Yeah. We've seen Mike Evans, Alec Pierce, Romeo Doubs, Wan'Dale Robinson all signed for good money. George Pickens franchise tagged. What does that mean for how this teams view the upcoming draft class?
That's a great question.
It's a very good question by
that Josiah, I don't have a great answer to. Because I think, and I believe it wholeheartedly, that the league, myself, draftniks, people in the know, think this is a very good receiver class. That you can get a lot, not in the top 10.
But maybe not the upper echelon.
But the Bills weren't going to get that guy anyway. The Steelers weren't going to get that guy anyway.
Bears weren't going to get that guy.
Right. Who did Waddle just get traded to? Denver wasn't going to get that guy. The teams that traded for these dudes were not getting the superstar draft pick anyway. So I do think there's a lot of receivers from like where the Steelers pick until the end of the third round. They'll be plentiful, and there usually is. But I also think the nature of the receiver position, they change teams more than other teams.
Yeah.
At the trade deadline, there's always two or three that move. So I just think receivers move around a lot. I know that's kind of a dumb answer, but I think that's kind of true.
It is. It certainly is.
Yeah, it's a really dumb answer.
No,
Is that
that's not what I meant. Dummy. Checker tweets us. It says, I know we won't know everyone's roles and exactly how they'll be used until we see it, but it seems like the Steelers have invested more, and other teams, the other teams and the Steelers have started to invest more in interchangeable pieces in the secondary.
Oh, yeah.
Guys that can play multiple roles. Does that speak to how the Steelers will want to play schematically?
Yeah. I mean, a perfect example is even today, when Max and Mike and I did a mock, we used Pro Football Focus's mock draft simulator or whatever. And our last pick in the third round was Kilgore from South Carolina. And he's listed as a cornerback. And I've drafted him before and threw it out on Twitter, and people are like, well, they're loaded at cornerback. I'm like, nah, he's really just a defensive back.
Yes.
And Max really said that well at the end of the video. He's like, let's just call him a defensive back because we were drafting him as a safety, knowing he could be a big slot. He's not going to be Revis playing man coverage outside the numbers. That's not what he is. He's just a defensive back. And yes, there's way more of them, whether it's Hamilton and Emuari and Derwin that are 220 pounds, or if it's Branch and Petrie that are 195 pounds, Do it all.
Do it all. The more you can
and
do.
that might be Ramsey.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they had that in mind for sure when they made the trade. Yeah, no doubt.
Certainly last year when they made that trade.
And they may draft another one. They may draft a Kilgore that looks like a corner, but I mean, he's not going to look like Joey Porter Jr. Joey Porter Jr.'s
a corner.
Not that guy. He's a corner.
Yes. We got about 90 seconds left. Last one here from today. We'll go to Brad. Brad tweets, do general managers have a return on investment type table for positions to evaluate draft versus free agency? For an example, wide receivers, seem to peak right at the end of their rookie deals after, a year or two in the league. Does that make you think that you would draft wideouts higher every year, as opposed to offensive linemen that might peak a little bit later in their careers, and then you were willing to spend more on them when they start to hit that free agency point? Whereas, a lot of times wide receivers can hit their late 20s and start to decline when they lose a half step. So I get what you're saying, like a kind of valuation on here's what we want to attack most in the draft, here's what we want to attack most in free agency, here's when those positions peak and decline. I think
there's a ton of data on that stuff. Yeah, they're all aware. The short answer is yes. A longer answer is a lot of these teams don't have 5-year window to pick their quarterback. That is what's available this offseason to best fill our needs for this year and maybe next, because I may not be here in 3 years, and I need to win now. But yes, I mean, like you mentioned Vance McDonald a little before. He sat down with Dale and I at OTAs right after he got drafted, and I mentioned to him, there's been a lot the conversation I had to him was, there's been a lot of data lately that 27's about the age that tight ends start to hit their peak.
Yes.
You're like 26 and a half, Vance, and I bet the Steelers were aware of that, and he didn't know that. He said, boy, that makes a ton of sense. He's like, I bet that's dead on because the game has slowed down for me. I understand it better. I'm definitely a way better player than I was 3 years ago, and I feel like I'm hitting my stride. Now, he probably wouldn't say, no, I'm terrible now. I stink. Welcome to Pittsburgh. But you know what I mean.
Yes, correct. That's a good story to close this thing down for the day. We got a good one from T-Mac. How would you rank, you're doing the Steelers roster breakdowns, how would you rank the roster compared to the 3 other teams in the division as they are today? Maybe that's something we could take a look at tomorrow or
we
this week.
Don't know them quite as well, but we could do something similar. Right.
It's a good question, though. Thanks to everybody who participated on Twitter. Reminder, as always, if we didn't get to your tweets, we'll bookmark them, keep sending them in. We'll get to them as we roll along this week. But that will do it for us today. Thanks to Nate Dogg on the ones and twos, Mr. TV on the video side of things. For Matt Williamson, I'm Wes Uhler. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Enjoy and take care. We'll talk to you tomorrow. As always, you know where to find us. It's on your 24/7 home of the black and gold, Steelers Nation Radio on the Steelers Audio Network.